I've recently gotten into audio podcasts, and the one that I listened to first, because honestly it was the shortest and it seemed pretty interesting, was a story called "Story About the Murder," and the title caught my attention right away. And honestly, I thought it was going to be more of a murder of the week type of show with maybe some true crime sprinkled in. But that wasn't what it was at all, and because of that I was very pleasantly surprised by it. That there is a murder that happens and there is an investigation, but it's a lot more funny than I expected and a lot more funny than I think it had any right of being. This story was fucking hilarious, and it takes place in Canada, so you know that there's gonna be a lot of politeness, which is not usually something that happens when someone is murdered. Nevertheless, here it was, and it takes place in a Canadian town of Beavermount, Ontario. And again, yes, there is a murder, but the way they go about solving it, it's really, really funny because the main suspect, Frenchie, he was the one arrested for murder. And throughout the whole story, throughout the entirety of the 8 episodes that it has, Frenchie is driving around with the sheriff, actually trying to solve this murder, while the sheriff is just kind of taking a back seat, sometimes quite literally, to this investigation. And no matter what evidence Frenchie presents, the sheriff is very adamant that it was Frenchie who committed this murder. Again, they go through a whole list of possible suspects, some of who have a lot more motive than Frenchie himself, and yet he's the guilty one. The whole time, even when the real murderer is caught, for a moment you think, oh no, Frenchie's gonna go to jail because this sheriff is a fucking idiot. But luckily that doesn't happen, and Frenchie clears his name. But the actual murderer, the one who does get caught, I didn't expect the motive to be what it is. I'm just gonna say that. I'm not gonna spoil the motive or who the murderer is, but I just want to say that I've never heard anything more Canadian than what happens in this story, what turns out to be the reason for someone's murder. And if you're Canadian, I don't know if that means anything to you, if you're gonna be able to guess what the motive was, but yeah, it's very Canadian, and it made sense for what they established about the characters, and at the same time it made no fucking sense at all. But maybe it's just one of those things that I'm not Canadian enough to understand. I don't know, but I really did enjoy this, and I think that there's a season 2 coming sometime in 2025. I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure there is, and I think that Frenchie is gonna be framed for murder again, so he's gonna have to do this whole song and dance with the idiot sheriff again. And you know what? If that happens, I'm really, really looking forward to that. And yeah, if you haven't listened to Story About the Murder yet, then please do it. It's not that long. I think it's 8 episodes, and each episode is like 20 minutes or something, so you can knock that out in one afternoon, and trust me, it's really, really worth it.